So far we've created the levels by copying them from the architectural file. Now the thing is that we don't have any floor plans or ceiling plans to work with. For example, if I decide to go into the first floor, I would have to select its floor plan from here, the project browser palette, so that I could view the first floor's plan. But as you may recall in the previous video, when we deleted the first and the second level, consequently we also lost all the floor plans and the ceiling plans related to them. So now I'm going to try to create floor plans according to the levels that I have created. To do that, first I'm going to have to go over to the View tab, and then select the Plan Views drop-down, and then select Floor Plan. We can see all of the levels that we've created over here in this list, which I'm going to first click on the first one, hold the Shift key, then click on the last one to select all of the levels we have here together, and after that I'm going to click OK. Now if you take a look over here in the project browser palette, we can see the mechanical discipline with subdiscipline HVAC, which is where we can find the floor plans that we've created. After expanding the floor plans, I could just select any of them that I want to take a look in its plan or view. For example, let's go to the ground floor. Here it is. I'm going to double click to open it. Now you see when it comes to the mechanicals, we have separate plans. As in, for example, we have one sheet for the sanitary, then there's also another sheet for the domestic pipes, then there's another plan for the ventilation ducts, the hydronic or heating and cooling pipes, as well as the discharge ducts if there's any. Basically, each one of these categories go into a separate plan. So based on the categories that I've just named, we would have 5 plans. Now in some other projects, we might have different plans for different floors, as in there might be some more disciplines based on the project's function. So now we want to have the same thing over here in Revit, meaning that I'm going to want to create multiple floor plans for each floor, where only the sanitary pipes are visible in some of them, or let's say just the domestic pipes, or just the ducts or the hydronic pipes, or only have the discharge ducts visible. So now let's go see how we can do that. In the first step of the way, I'm going to go over to these floor plans that I have created, and the first thing we're going to do with them is renaming them. I'm going to want these floor plans to be only for the ducts. So I'm going to double click on one of them. This one, for example, is for the ground floor. So I'm going to, for example, rename it to 0, ground floor plan. And I'm going to also add duct at the end. This way I would know that this is the ground floor's floor plan, where the visibility settings are adjusted in a way that only the ducts are visible. Now I'm going to select this whole text, press Ctrl+C to copy it, and then paste it for the rest of them to make the process go faster. Now once I press Enter or click somewhere else, I get this message asking if I would like to rename the corresponding level and views. In other words, it's asking if we would like to rename the level itself as well. But the thing is that we don't need to do that. Our level has a name of its own, and we also rename this floor plan to something to understand this one belongs to the ducts. So we're going to click No. Now I'm going to also expand this palette a little bit so we could see the views names in full. Now for the next one. Rename, Ctrl+V, and then I'm going to remove the 0 ground from the beginning and make it into first floor plan. We get this message again, click No. Now for the next one, we're going to press Ctrl+V. This one is also once again the first floor plan, but it's actually the middle of it, so I'm going to add the letter M after the first. Rename the corresponding level? No. Now if you don't want to see this message again, you could just check this box next to Do Not Show, but I recommend that you don't and keep it unchecked and put a little bit more of your time and instead click No every time you get this message. Now on to the next one, we're going to rename it Ctrl+V, and this one's going to be second floor plan duct. Rename corresponding level? No. Then we go to the next one, Ctrl+V again. This one's going to be the third floor. Rename corresponding? No. Then to the next one, Ctrl+V. And this one is going to be the fourth floor plan, rename corresponding level, no. Then we go to the next plan, rename, Control V. And then this one is going to be the fifth floor plan, rename level, no. And the next one is the roof. So first, Control V. And at the beginning, I'm going to put roof, rename corresponding, no. And the next one is going to be the negative mid first. So I'm going to press Control V. And at its beginning, I'm going to put negative first, M. Rename corresponding level, no. And then on to the next one, Control V again. This one is negative first, so this is actually the bottom of the entire floor. Rename corresponding, no. And then to the next one, Control V. And this one's going to be negative second. Rename corresponding, no. And on to the last one, Control V. And let's make it negative third. Rename corresponding, no. So after I've created my floor plans, I have renamed them. Now in the next step, we're going to want to adjust some of the visibility settings to make only the ducts visible in these plans. So that means that if, for example, we draw a pipe, we won't be able to see it in these plans. Now to adjust whether we want to have an item visible or invisible, we could make that adjustment by going over to the visibility graphics window. We would be doing that setting for one of the plans. For example, right now we are in the 0 ground floor plan. First I'm going to hit VV, but then I see that the visibility settings for all of these items over here are locked, and I can change anything. Let's take a look in the other tabs and see that it's all the same thing there. Down here we can see the scale level is locked, and so is the detail level, as well as the display settings, even some of the properties and the parameters that we have in the properties palette. So it's kind of like the settings are locked. Now why is it so? It's because of the view template. We're going to have to first disable it, and then later I'm going to tell you how you can create one and just what is it for. Now also remember that the same thing applies to all the other floor plans here as well. So I'm just going to select all of them together and try to unlock them. We're going to have to go over to the Properties palette, then click on the button in front of View Template, and then in this next window that appears, we're going to select None under Names, and then click OK. Now let's test it. We're going to press VV and see that the settings are on. Now in this first tab, I'm going to go to the filter list and have only the mechanical and the piping items visible. Now, of all of these items we have in this list, we want only the ducts visible. So we're going to make sure that all of the duct items are checked, like the air terminals, duct items, flex ducts, and everything else. On the other hand, we want the pipes to be invisible. So we're going to simply uncheck the visibility for all of the piping items. Things like pipes, pipe placeholders, pipe installations, pipe fittings, pipe accessories, and even the flexible pipes. Now, for example, I could also make the plumbing fixtures invisible, but it's best that we keep it for now, because you may need to draw some, for example, bathroom items, and you'll need to be able to see the plumbing fixtures as well. So let's keep it. We're going to also go take a look in the Filters tab, where we can see some of the pipes such as the domestics, the sanitaries, as well as the vents to be invisible. Do you see how their visibilities are unchecked? I'm going to explain to you later how you can create a filter, but for now, we're just going to remove the filters we have over here. You don't need to have any filters. So all of the settings that we've adjusted over here in the visibility graphics window would suffice, and in the next step, we're just going to click OK. Now the next thing I'm going to need with this plan is for its scale level to be 1/100, its detail level to be on Fine, and its display style on Shaded. Now besides those, I'm going to also need this view to not be under the HVAC subdiscipline, but instead I want to see it under the Duct subdiscipline. Now in order to adjust which views should be under which subdisciplines, we could adjust that by going over to the Properties palette. Now first I'm going to take this palette and drag it and bring it next to the Project Browser palette so that we could easily see both of them at the same time, and then I'm going to explain to you what we can do with them. You see each one of these views, for example the floor plan, if you go take a look in the Properties palette, you could find a property called discipline, which is currently on mechanical. And there's also a subdiscipline, which is currently on HVAC. Now you can see that the ground floor plan goes under the mechanical discipline, just like how we can see in this palette. And it's also under the HVAC subdiscipline, as we can also see here. So basically, all of the views that we have in the project browser palette are all organized together based on the disciplines and the subdisciplines that have been defined for them. Now let's try to change one of them. For example, I'm going to take this ground floor and I'm going to have its discipline to remain on mechanical, but I'm going to change its subdiscipline from HVAC to duct. I'm going to type it with my keyboard and then press the enter key. And then I'm going to move my mouse out of this palette. Now, do you see how that floor plan has moved to under the duct subdiscipline? That's because its subdiscipline is duct, and its discipline is still on mechanical because we kept it that way. Now, I'm going to grab this properties palette and move it back to the left. And then I'm going to also make this project browser palette a little tighter. Now, the next settings that we're going to need to adjust are the view range settings, which we could just go over to the properties palette and scroll down till we find view range. And then if we click on the edit button in front of it, it's going to open its window. Or instead, we could just use its shortcut, VR. Here it is. Now we want to see only the items which are within a certain elevation. So based on this window right here, the lowest part of the floor plan is the view depth, which is also set on associated level, which is this current view. That means this is the ground floor plan. Its offset is on 0, which means that from the very surface of the floor of this ground floor up to the top is set on level above, which we can also see that in parentheses it says first floor plan, and the offset for the top is 0. So basically that means that everything that is between the ground floor and the first floor is going to be visible over here in this current view. So this is what the view range means. We can see everything that is between the ground floor and the first floor. Now let's click OK. So far we have adjusted some of the settings for this current view. And as for these other views that are related to this entire project, and they're all supposed to contain the ducts, we're going to want to apply the settings that we've adjusted. Now, if we try to readjust all of the settings for each one of these levels one by one, it wouldn't make sense because it would be very time consuming. Instead, I could save all of the settings that I've adjusted for this view, and then apply those settings to all the other views as well. So in order to save the settings that we have adjusted, we're going to have to first go over to the View tab, and then find and drop down the View Templates, and then we're going to select Create Template from Current View. By Current View, it's referring to the view that we have open over here, and it's going to create a View Template from it. And by View Template, it's referring to the view settings that we've adjusted and want to save. So we're just going to click, and now we need to name it. So I'm going to name this one Duct Floor Plan, then click OK. And after that, this new window appears, which is for double checking or readjusting some settings that we need. Here we have all of the settings that we have in the project browser palette, down here in the view control bar, and everything we have in the visibility graphics window. We have all of those settings compiled over here, for example, view scale, which is down here, or even the detail level, which we've set on fine, and it goes down here. And there's also the visibility graphics settings, which also contain V/G. For example, let's click on VG filters, and then it takes us to the entire visibility graphics window where we can check all the other tabs too. Or for example, we have discipline, subdiscipline. We just have all of the settings in one window that we can double check or readjust if necessary. But if you are completely sure about your settings, you could just click OK. So far we have saved all of the settings that we've adjusted for the visibility of the ducts and the ground floor in one template. And now we want to apply those settings or the view template onto the other floor plans. We can do that in two ways. First, we could select all of them and then go over to the properties palette and try to edit view template. And then we're going to select the duct floor plan, then click OK. Now, as you can see, all of them have jumped to under the duct subdiscipline, And if we check one of them randomly, for example, the 4th floor, double click. Then I'm gonna press VV, where you can see that all of the duct items visibilities are checked and the piping items are unchecked. We also have no filters, the detail levels on fine, display style on shaded, the subdiscipline is duct, and the discipline is mechanical. So basically the settings that we've adjusted have been applied to all the other floor plans as well. Now, did you notice how these settings were locked? Do you also remember how at the beginning of the video I told you that view templates can lock the settings of a view and that I was going to explain it to you later? And now you know what a view template can do. Now that was the first way of applying a view template to the views. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z right now to undo it and change their views back to their prior state when they didn't have this view template applied to them. And now let's talk about the second way of applying view templates to the views. Once again, we're going to select all of them together, and then right-click, and then we're going to select Apply Template Properties. Now here, once again, we're going to select the view template that we've made, then click OK. Then you can see all of the views moving to under the duct subdiscipline and the mechanical discipline. Let's double check again, open, VV, and now you can see that the settings aren't locked, however, they have been applied. So if you apply your view templates by right-clicking and selecting Apply Template Properties, then the settings won't be locked, as in they will be editable for later in the project. But if you do that through the Properties palette and apply your view templates from there, that will lock your view settings.